This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's number one platform where artists come on and talk about their journeys and visions. And most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next? Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Dear John, the iconic legend Quincy Jones said, "To know where you came from makes it easier for you to get where you're going." Sean Diddy Combs said, "Everyone has challenges and lessons to learn. We wouldn't be who we are without them." If 2018 and the last 6 years taught you something, it's that anything is attainable with the right focus and determination. Continue to build. Continue to promote your vision. Continue to inspire creativity and make more creatives. In closing, Nas said, "No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. The first chapter of your vision's movements is done. However, you're still a visionary. Peace and blessings. John Ross."
Yo, it feel like 95, Sachi on my body, Biggie, Jigga, Puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby, and I'm wildin' in my body.
Welcome back to episode number 27 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. My name is John Ross Dyke the First, and before we get started with the episode, Harold, I want to introduce our social media handles so we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dyke and still_visionary. If you would, connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. Harold.
Boom is IFAM, number 3's number 0 US. That's iFamous on Instagram. Everywhere else you can find me, Harold J. Trotter.
Okay. Listen, dog, before we get started with the thick part of the episode, man, I wanted to ask you this question. I was on the way here. I set up last night. I set the podcast up last night, and I wanted to come here on time so I could get this chicken sandwich that they've been talking about. Now, normally my platform is not about like what's going on in everyday life, but have you had this goddamn chicken sandwich that people are talking about?
So, of course, we do This Is Culture podcast on Thursdays.
Okay.
So, same thing, man. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get there early.
Okay.
I'm going to get this chicken sandwich, and we're going to try this chicken sandwich live on the podcast.
Yes.
So we did a whole little segment about it. So, I'm like, we're going to try it live.
Was that last episode?
This was his last one.
Okay, I missed the beginning part because I was in the shop getting
So, I go to Popeyes.
Okay.
Stay in line about 12 minutes.
Okay.
Get to the front. Finally get to the drive-up window.
Okay.
They talk about no chicken sandwiches.
Yes.
So I just went ahead and jumped over the little thing and got out.
Okay. Listen, I want to say, man, forget that damn sandwich, Houston, Texas, man. Look, that sandwich, stop comparing them Chick-fil-A, man. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I haven't tasted yet.
I haven't had the sandwich
so I can't
either.
Say.
But I'm getting fed up because when I was coming here, they didn't have them today.
Yeah, no, man.
So,
I went to Thursday.
Yeah.
And they didn't have it.
Yeah, so for the
and
educators.
I even tried to go into a less darker neighborhood.
Yeah.
And see if I said the less darker neighborhood is gonna have some chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
Now somebody else had that idea too.
Yeah, man. So how are you?
I'm doing great, man.
I want to say, man, I appreciate the invitation.
And vice versa.
On your platform the other day, man. I was really excited to be on there. I'm an avid fan of your podcast. I watch it, I share, I comment. And I like what y'all doing.
I appreciate that, man. I'm subscribed to the show too.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I
man.
really appreciate the personal DM.
Yeah,
that really keeps me up on it. So I really appreciate that.
I be in the DMs like crazy, man. So, how you doing? What's going on? Sunday. What are you doing today?
Sunday, man. Just leaving church and doing this now, and then I'm actually filmed a commercial this morning.
Okay.
Before church, and then. Later, the rest of the day is just gonna be some work and chill.
Okay. Are you starting school tomorrow?
Ooh.
Are you
that boy's out of there.
Okay.
No more teaching for me, man. I taught my last school year last year.
Okay.
So I'm just full time working for myself right now, man.
Okay.
So left the classroom behind.
Okay. Where were you at?
So I did A-Leaf ISD, I did
Okay.
Spring Branch ISD, and then most recently I just finished at a charter school, Beta Academy.
Okay.
I did 2 years there.
Because I've heard them reference a few times that you're an educator, and I was
Man,
I want to ask you about that.
done.
How long have you been teaching?
6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, in the classroom, 6
Okay.
years.
What'd you teach?
So I've taught kinder, I've taught first,
Wow.
taught second-ish,
Okay.
and mainly kinder and first though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I teach 11th grade. We start
Man,
tomorrow.
I'm so sorry.
No, well, I think
Never,
that
'cause
I
do
think
the
that
older kids.
the high school level, we have more advantages during the finals week, and we're getting ready to go on the vacations. They get out a little earlier, so we can dip out the back
I
and
deal with the little ones.
yeah. I couldn't do that, man. I couldn't do that.
I couldn't. I commend you for the patience, man. I couldn't even. If I see somebody my height talk to me crazy,
Yeah.
boom, we going toe to toe.
I've had a couple of those experiences, man, but I gotta, relax. I gotta relax.
Nah, see, I knew my lane, so I stayed down there.
No doubt. So, creativity comes from experiences, I believe, man. Let's get into it, man. You do a podcast on Thursdays, 8 p.m.
Ish.
8-ish.
Just like second grade ish, 8 p.m. ish.
So talk to us about what was the idea behind doing that podcast?
Okay, so the show actually started off as the Factory podcast. That's how we were originally, and it was supposed to be the Actors Factory.
Okay.
Then it was supposed to be the Factory.
Okay.
But it was supposed to be a platform for actors to come, kind of similar to what you're doing here.
Yeah.
And talk about their projects and different things like that.
Okay.
Shortly after, it really began to expand just in the direction that I wanted to go in.
Okay.
I wanted to really start talking about pop culture. I wanted to do fun things. And I started debating on a name. I was like, what's the name going to be? And that's how we landed on This Is Culture, because, with This Is Culture, that includes fashion, that includes politics, that includes sports, that includes relationships, you know? And that's why we always say it's just what we do, because, the culture that we live in is just what we do.
Yeah. In the creation of this podcast, man, I wanted to stay away from everyday happenings, because I really don't pay attention a lot to what's going on.
Man, it's homework.
Yeah, I know. So in I'm telling my wife the other day, I'm like, hey baby, I'm going to do this podcast. And she was like, well, what if they ask you about the Jay-Z thing? And I was like, well, I'm a fan of Jay, but I really don't pay attention to what's going on.
So you have missed it, man, because, we originally had you in for that part.
Yeah.
This man had to get a haircut.
Yeah, listen, man, you got the ball fade, and it's always fresh. So how would I look coming? I'm looking grizzly.
This man had to
hair all
get the
over
cut.
my face.
He had to get
You know
the
what I'm saying?
cut.
I had to because not only that, but I think I had something else to do on. I had to do a podcast, episode 27.
Okay.
That Saturday, so I didn't want to, be all nasty, and then first
Man, we
first
was
week
happy
of school
you
and
came,
all of
but
that.
I really did. I mean, to me, that beginning part, for me at least, I don't know about my other co-hosts, but for me, that beginning part is the most fun.
Yeah.
Because we're going through the different things, and I really try to, when we choose the topics, to hit something for everybody.
Yeah.
We usually hit at least one thing in politics.
Okay.
We probably hit about 2 in reality TV.
Yeah.
We try to hit something in sports, and then the last one's always just a free for all, whatever's going on in the world right there.
No doubt.
But that's what's the most fun to me, man. I think you would have enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. I apologize, man, but like I said, man, I just couldn't. Like sometimes it gets to a point where I know if I'm. That was my first time on your platform.
Yeah.
Right. And when I download that episode from Facebook and I'm able to watch it again, I didn't want my first time looking back maybe a month later to see that I had rolls on my head.
You're like, why didn't you get to go?
Yeah,
get
like I was rushing. I mean,
well, we're definitely gonna have you back, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Nah, for sure. Anytime we need a sub, I think I'm gonna have you come sit in.
I appreciate that, man. I really like the setup of the podcast. I really like the dynamics that y'all bring.
Man, dope. I mean, I only knew Natoya.
Okay.
And the other two, I just met.
Okay.
We kind of just put the chemistry together, and everything worked out perfect.
So how did that conversation go with trying to get people to ride with you?
Man, so I actually had some people the first 2 episodes, just to test the chemistry.
Yeah.
I went through it was like a live on air audition.
Yeah.
We went through people, tested the chemistry. It just wasn't the direction that I was trying to go in.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it was one of those things where I didn't necessarily know.
Okay.
Sometimes you just driving, you don't necessarily know where you're going, but you know you're not there yet.
Yeah.
So I was just driving until I landed on these people. Shannon came and auditioned for a movie. She was a horrible fit for the movie.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, this girl is hilarious. So we brought her in. She was perfect.
Okay.
P. Harris, I actually met him at another audition. We were both auditioning for a radio show.
Okay.
Neither one of us got it.
Okay.
But I was like, man, there's something about this dude. And the thing about P is that, man, he's super funny because he's a comedian by trade.
Yeah.
But dude drops these little tidbits and intellectual moments on you every now and then that I absolutely love. And then Natoya Danielle, I've been knowing her for some years, and she's just phenomenal in everything she does. So I knew she'd be a great fit.
Yeah. So what happened to the date? The date between that girl and the guy.
Man, so this man went out of town, right?
Oh.
To catch people up who are listening. So we did a I don't even know what you would call it, like a blind date type thing on the show.
Hook them up and stuff.
We was hooking people up. She had to eliminate. She chose this guy. They were supposed to go on a date that weekend, and man went out of town for work. Yeah. So we haven't had a chance to do it yet.
Okay, because I'm glad I didn't ask that when I was on the show.
Man, it's all good because we're determined to make at least one love connection through the show.
Okay,
it's my goal.
Okay, okay. So I asked you because my biggest thing is I like to sit with things on my own time, right? And I think a lot of the reason why I set my podcast up the way that I set it up is, you never know what people are going through or going, how people receive things. Some people like to sit and watch. Some people like to listen to it on the go. I really love listening to podcasts on the go. Why did you decide to do it live?
Man, so this is the thing.
But, and two, I really appreciate the invite because first I had the invite and I came through just on GP.
Yeah, that was.
And it was dope. Yeah, I had a crowd there, drinks there. It was dope. It was a dope.
We had to
event.
get rid of all of that.
Yeah,
we had to stop all that.
I can imagine. Why? Before you get into it.
What happened was we were getting really great guests.
Okay.
And I started to realize we didn't have no green room for the guests.
Yeah.
And it was just becoming, it was live that day.
Yeah.
And we had a guest that day.
Yeah.
And that guest decided, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do this show.
Oh.
So we had somebody from the Houston Texans.
Okay.
Was supposed to be on, and he was actually in the room.
Okay.
And the audience participation was a little too live for him.
Yeah.
And he was like, maybe it's not the right audience.
Yeah.
So I was like, from that day on, that was probably the last time we had an audience. I was just like, I get it. If I'm an artist or I'm somebody, and he was of some significance.
Yeah.
Not some. He is of significance. You do need that separation.
Yeah.
When you go to any other TV show, they don't have the guests sitting out in the audience area.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the main reason.
No doubt. Hey, rest in peace to Cedric Benson, man. He passed away
for sure.
A couple of.
I think it was like
last week or
Wednesday.
something.
Maybe.
Yeah. So go on. What you were saying? Why make it live?
We're not a traditional podcast in the sense of streaming online and audio, which we're starting in September.
Yeah,
we're gonna finally get going there. But for me, to be honest, my passion and my background is in television and film.
No doubt.
So our show's kind of formatted as a TV show more
so.
Okay. And hey, it's just been great. We love the audience interaction, man. I think not this week, but the week before we had like 500 comments from the live show.
Yeah.
So the people, you included, be going in the comments section. I had somebody actually tell me, it was like, yeah, I watch your podcast for the comments.
Yeah. That's great. That's a view.
I was like,
I'll
okay, keep watching.
No doubt.
I was like, I'm on there too though.
No doubt. I like the fact that of the versatility it brings. I've seen you not many people know this, but reading from the teleprompter, being able to follow suit.
Sure.
I really like that.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I need it.
So you you're not from here originally?
From Cali.
Okay.
Yeah,
what part?
San Diego.
And why come to Texas?
So I went to the Grambling State University, where everybody is somebody. It's the only place to be, home of the world famed Tiger Marching Band.
Okay.
Just had to throw that out there.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
That's why.
It's crazy because the guest I had on last week wrote about Grambling State in her project.
Did she go there?
No, she just used that. Like sometimes when I write too, I like to use historically black colleges and universities.
She used it in a positive light?
Yeah, of course. All that right, cool. Sometimes we go off.
With me then.
Yeah.
Well, no, I went to Grambling State University, and after I graduated, I was like, man, I'm gonna move to DC or I'm gonna move to Houston.
Okay.
I looked up the rent in DC. I was like, I moved to Houston.
Oh, okay.
And I literally packed up my Jeep and I had drove out here. Actually came. I didn't have nowhere to stay yet.
Yeah.
I didn't have no job. So the
Okay.
first day I got here, I had an interview. He was like, cool, I'm going to give you this job. It's only commission based. I was like, all right. I had slept in the hotel. No, sorry, I slept in the car first night, hotel the second night, went to Westheimer, got an apartment that day.
Yeah.
And I mean, rest is history.
You've been here ever since.
Yeah, 6 years now.
Okay. So you mentioned you had an audition. How was the acting scene here in Houston for you, different from California?
So I didn't really get to experience it in Cali as much. Really, honestly, until I came to Houston, everything was focused on music. I went to school. I majored in music. So everything was music based. And then I won't say fell into acting because I've always acted, but it just became my focus once I moved here to Houston.
That bug bit you.
Yeah, I mean, it had already bit me years and years ago, but I mean, it just really became my moneymaker once I came to Houston. And I mean, it's been cool for me, man. I like Houston because Houston is so big yet so small. Yeah. It's not LA or Atlanta or New York yet. It definitely has the potential to be those places. The great thing about Houston is what I tell all these people who want to be actors here in the city is that build your name here in Houston.
Of course.
Build your platform, your brand here in Houston so that when you go to the LAs, the New Yorks, the Atlantas, you already know you're not starting from the bottom. Yeah. You're not one out of a gazillion in LA who are all there trying to start and jumpstart this career versus in Houston when you might be one out of 10,000, because there are a lot of people here in Houston who have those desires, but you're one out of 10,000. You built this brand up so that when you go to LA, you're not started from the bottom. You're coming with this built brand. No doubt. So, I mean, that's why I've made Houston my home, and it's been going great for me, man. I built a brand with the podcast. I built it with stage plays. We got a film coming out in October. Okay. So, I mean, it's just different things, and I'm grateful to the city because it's allowed me to do that.
Yeah. I've had the same ideologies as well. When a lot of I'm actually going to LA Labor Day weekend to talk to a couple of artists that I met here that moved out there, and it's been one of my questions: why move? You know what I'm saying? And I understand that creativity sometimes can be a burden. Yeah. Continuing to create and
not go anywhere.
Yeah, not go anywhere. It can be a burden.
I'll say this real quick too.
Go ahead.
The difference between LA and a place like Houston, in Houston you have the opportunity to really self-build, build your brand. The great thing about LA is all you need is one shot and your whole life can be changed. So it's the catch-22. You go and you take that risk and wait for that one chance, that one moment that will change your life, or do you take it somewhere else and really build it up yourself?
So what are the people that are waiting for that one shot but grinding, doing it in LA?
Man, they grinding. Exactly what you're saying. You get a lot of no's. Okay. You get a lot of opportunities to do certain things. What I love the most is that I work for myself. Okay. I create a lot of my own opportunities. No doubt. When you go there, and to be honest, I started creating my own opportunities because I got a lot of no's. Yeah. To be honest.
As did I.
Yeah.
As did I. I mean, our stories are very similar.
Yeah. So you start getting a lot of no's, and then I was just like, okay, well, I'm tired of getting no's.
Exactly.
I need to start making my own yes.
Yes.
So that's pretty much how that happened for me. So I'll tell people, if you want to go to LA and do that, go ahead and do it and pursue it. And I'm not gonna say I support you. I don't support everybody. Yeah. but go ahead and do it. Yeah. It's just not my story right now.
Yeah. So what bit of advice would you give to, let's just say you met me or whatever the next week or whatever. What advice, if I told you I was going to LA, what advice would you give me going to LA?
Man, going to LA, I would just say, man, be ready. Always be ready. That's the best advice I could give you, because in LA, you don't know who you're going to run into, when you're going to run into them, and you need to always be ready. Man, I've been to LA several times. Most recently, I was out there for a conference, and I mean, everybody was there. You had the executives from BET, executives from NBC, ABC. You got to meet reality stars, actors. I was literally, Steve Harvey got an award, so I was in the room with Steve Harvey. Yeah. Crazy thing is, I I had went to his show that day, and then we, talking
His
to the
live show?
audience.
His live show?
His live show.
Okay.
Which is not live.
Yeah.
Because we filmed 3 episodes that day.
No doubt.
And it
no
was
doubt.
taking so long. He talks to the audience in between. I was like, "Hey, Steve, man, you getting an award tonight? What time we getting out of here? Because I'm trying to go too."
Yeah.
So you just have to be ready because you never know who you're gonna meet, those connections you're gonna meet.
Yeah.
But just know that everybody out there is doing it.
Yeah.
It's not like here. You say, "Hey, man, John, what you do?" You say, "Oh, I got a podcast."
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Tell me about it. It's different.
Yeah.
You go to LA, "Hey, I got a podcast." They're gonna say, "Cool, I got one too."
Yeah.
So does my maid.
Yeah.
So does my neighbor.
No doubt.
That's
one thing, people will frown on acting in the city.
For sure.
Why you doing that here? But when that radio ad comes up, and you go to the spot, you see so many people. You said 1 in 1,000. I really think it's more than that. I think it might be 1 in 100,000 that be coming. That be coming to them spots to try to audition. It's just like, yo, you act? When did you start doing that? So yeah, man. But I really love the podcast, man. And I'm not like, I don't have any critiques of it. I don't think it's my place to critique it.
Come on, give it to me.
No, I don't. I like the podcast because it's the only thing that I see of podcasts that happen like that here in the city. Nobody else is doing a culture podcast where they talk about genuine thing that's going on in the culture. Like when last time y'all were talking about abortions.
Yeah, that got
and I know it did because I was like, damn, I can't fit into the conversation because I normally I got that chime on my phone when the podcast comes on Thursdays at 8. I'm on the computer already. You keep saying ish. There's one time I was like, yo, damn, when the podcast coming on?
Yeah, 8-ish.
But so the topics that y'all talk about, like how do you go from week to week and make sure that you don't repeat a topic that you spoke on?
It is
2
hard,
weeks ago?
actually. Sometimes we all chime in. Last week, Natoya presented that particular thing, and then also too, sometimes we present to each other topics, and I have to sit there and debate, like, can we talk about this for an hour?
Yeah.
Because sometimes a conversation be a 10-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Then I also have to debate and say, is it something that we're going to have different opinions? Nobody wants to watch a podcast where we're all sitting there agreeing, saying, oh, yeah, we all agree. We all agree.
Yeah.
So really, man, it's just going back and thinking, like, what's relevant. A lot of times I look at people's comments. I mean, not comments, but their status, their posts. I'm like, what are you talking about? And, people post some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So as soon as I see it, it usually sparks something that we can discuss, man. I think my favorite thing we talked about so far had to be marriage, and was marriage dying among our generation of people. And it got into a really heated debate. I was surprised that majority of my co-hosts believe like, oh, marriage is a dead thing. Like
even Shannon.
Not Shannon. So it was me and Shannon versus the other two.
Okay.
And they were just pretty much like marriage. They were all for commitment. And they were all for longevity in relationships, but they were like marriage wasn't as important. So I found that to be interesting.
Yeah. And so where do you hold on? Okay, so what song's on your mind right now?
Songs on my mind, man. I'm always gonna be rocking with Daniel Caesar.
Okay.
Who else? I'm like a singer type guy, so I like Erykah Badu. I love soul.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. I'm gonna go with my son passed away in June.
Many prayers to you, man.
I appreciate it. He passed away in June, and I remember sitting in front of the doctor's office and telling her when they said that my son could possibly be blind. I said, well, Stevie Wonder was blind, and he was a great. And so I was speaking those kind of affirmations onto his life. And I'm going to go with Stevie Wonder as right now. I've been really listening to his music. It's been really kind of honing in and bringing emotions out of me that I need. So I'm going to go with Stevie Wonder as. So, dog, again, let's talk about the podcast, man. Let's talk about This Is Culture podcast. So you drop it on. Why did you pick Thursdays?
Honestly, it was my only free day.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed busy, man. Like I said, I'm working for myself, so I'm consistently trying to do different projects. I'm typically in some form of a rehearsal Monday to Wednesday.
Okay.
So Thursday really works out great. And then I think, too, it's the pre-day to the weekend.
Yeah.
So we're that turn up before you get ready for the weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you? Why you chose your day?
It just so happened that this year, the first of the year. So I'm glad you asked that question. When I went into the rebrand last year, I did a podcast last year, and we actually started that podcast with my old production company, maybe 2017. And it just, I had difficulties. I take the podcast to myself like I've taken your podcast. I'm like, yo, this is a really, really dope idea. I don't know if I'm well cultured enough, like I said to you earlier in this episode, to sit here for an hour and a half and talk about things of people's. Because, for example, I don't listen to the new kids. A lot of the students I teach listen to the new kids. I'm a Nas head. I like Music Soul Child.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? They be educating me on. What was it? I learned a Fugazi or Fugazi.
Yeah, Fugazi. I mean, Jay said that like I said in the comments.
They be educating.
Yeah. So coming into 2018, the last year, my sister was like, you just need to drop it. Just drop everything, start over. And I was like, really? And that's the hardest thing that I've found within myself as a creative, is taking that advice and really just trying to put it to use. So I dropped on Tuesdays because I told myself, well, when you start this new podcast, you need to drop the first of the year. And Tuesday happened to be the first of the year this year.
That's dope.
But I was born on a Tuesday anyway. So, Tuesday happened to be the first of the year. Nothing really happens on Tuesdays. Two-piece Tuesdays at godforsaken Popeyes. And that's why I dropped on Tuesdays. And for a while, after I dropped the first episode, for a while, I really wanted to get my coworker on, who I really enjoy her vibe, her energy. She's an optimist like me, so she never really is on a negative slope, and things couldn't align right. So I took a month off to try to align people, and then I started dropping every Tuesday after that. So here I am today.
That's dope, man. I mean, and sometimes you do. The pieces we try to make fit don't always work for a reason,
no doubt.
And I think it's super dope with just you solo.
Yeah.
When I think of what's next, I see you. You are the face of it. So, I mean, it's
I
dope.
appreciate that. I mean, for the longest, my last podcast, when I internalized it, that's where I was going with that comment. When I internalized it and people would ask me, so what's the podcast about? And I kind of felt like, I felt personally, I don't want to be the one talking about everyday activities because I feel like for me, I have my opinions and I keep them to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain what the podcast was about. And when I heard it, I was like, yeah, that's what it is. But then I forget. If I can't explain it to you, then I know that I can't. If I can't explain it to myself, rather, I know I can't explain it to anybody else. So I was just like, nah, that's not. I want to kind of move away from that. But I spent so much time in it. It was there was an attachment to it, but I just eventually let it go, move forward.
That's dope, man. I love when people ask me, what's the podcast about?
Yeah.
I always tell them, man, we talk about absolutely everything. I mean, you have P, who was lost his mom as a kid, who was in a coma fighting for our country, who's now back here and he's a bouncer at the club. You got Shannon, who's been divorced and who's a mother. She's a wife now and a comedian, travels the world. You have Natoya, who was actually engaged and called off her wedding a couple weeks before the wedding, and it's just this strong black woman still pursuing her dreams. We have so many different perspectives, and I just tell people like this is culture. You get that opinion of a woman who's a wife. You get that opinion of this guy who's fought for his country and has endured lots of hardships. You get this opinion of this single black woman who is out here trying to debate if I'm having hot girl summer or if I'm trying to get wiped up.
No doubt.
So I love that question because I always, you could tell it's like my passion to tell people about that.
I mean, your podcast, it really. Like when I say LOL on the podcast, I'm really laughing. You guys have me dying. I love it. I love the way sometimes when you say, I've said to myself when I was watching your podcast, I was like, yo, that's bullshit. When they ask you a question, when you delving into it deep, and they ask you, Jay, and you're like, hey, I was at church. He's like, that's not why I created this platform. And I'm like, yo,
I had to say that. One of the young adult pastor at church one Sunday. I'm walking into church, man.
No doubt.
I'm walking in the door, and he goes, "Hey, Harold, man." He was like, "Man, love the podcast." I was like, "Nah." I was like, "You don't watch that?" He was like, "Yeah, I'll be watching." So everything after then, I was like, "Nope." Baby Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, that's boss. Like, sometimes you don't get it all.
Yeah,
you don't.
nah.
I can't give you the gems that I would give you off of air. So the 1989 thing.
Yeah.
What is that about?
So 1989 Dream Productions, that's actually, the company that produces This Is Culture.
Okay.
And then it's also my production company.
Okay.
1989, obviously, for the year that I was born.
Okay.
And then Dreams, just because I believe, well, my belief is that, from the time we were in our mother's womb, that God had a purpose for us with our name on it, a plan for us. So I believe that my dream began in 1989. It wasn't something that I got 20 years old and said, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
It was what I was purposed to do. So that's where 1989 Dreams Productions come. We started as a theatrical production company. I produced my first show in Houston in 2016 called No Justice, No Peace. It starred Rico King. I don't know if you know him.
I've heard his name.
Filmmaker here in Houston of G Code. And then Aya Washington, who's like been killing it now. She's doing all kinds of films and all kinds of things. And then we did another show called Ain't Always Been Saved, which went on tour. We went to Las Vegas, Cali, New Orleans, Arizona. We went a few places. We won several awards for that. And, man, it's just been growing. So this summer we filmed our first film. So, I mean, it's just like it's been really great. And it's afforded me the opportunity to leave teaching, to pursue this more. So it's just been great, man. And I have lots of other projects that, I know you're going to ask what's next later, but other projects coming up. And then we also started the nonprofit organization, which is the Dream Walking Foundation. And the goal between that is just pretty much to tell people, like, don't sleep on your dreams, man. So many people have dreams that they just keep in their sleep. So I really believe in dream walking and just living out your dreams every single day.
Okay, today is August the 25th, 2019, and we have 128 days left in the year. What do you hope to attain in those 128 days?
I need to convince myself that leaving my job was right.
Okay.
But no, seriously though, like, man, I literally have something coming up every month. So in these last couple of days, man, I just really want to, I'm about to turn 30 in a few weeks. And I just really want to go into 30 knowing that I'm doing what I was designed to do. Nope, October 7th.
October 7th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's Coach Waller's birthday. You're a Libra.
Yes, sir.
Okay, October.
Yep.
That's more than a few weeks, dog.
No, it's like 44 days. That's a few weeks, man. I'm going to believe, so I know the exact days.
Okay. So October the 7th. Okay. So what were you saying? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What
I
were
don't
you
know,
saying?
man. I just want to go into 30. I want to finish this year off knowing that, I'm truly living in my purpose. I'm truly doing what it is that I was called here to do. And I get those moments. Like last night we had this past weekend, we had a sold-out show, 2 shows. We did a murder mystery dinner. That was really cool, man. I just get fulfillment knowing that we're providing entertainment for people in the city.
So in 1989 Dream Productions, are you writing a lot of it, or do you?
I write all of it. Our next show coming up, I didn't necessarily write. We're doing the 90s TV weekend.
I heard.
So we're recreating some shows from the 90s. So those are those actual scripts. So I didn't write those, but everything else I always write.
You where y'all gonna hold? You just talk about it on the podcast, but where y'all gonna do?
We're gonna do it at the Midtown Arts Center, September 6th, 7th, and 8th. Tickets are on sale for that.
Where at?
Online at 1989dreams.com.
All right, I'm gonna make sure I put that in. Somebody told me that I need to go ahead and when you said just start putting it putting it on the episode. And I usually, because I was lazy, I put it at the end credits and hope that they would read the descriptions, man. But somebody told me that I need to put it right into the episode.
Too, man. I'd be like, we just trying to keep the sound on.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a lot to deal with, man. So, yeah, man. I want to say, man. Like I said, I appreciate the opportunity to be on, man. It's good to see how you grind, and somebody's like, hey, come on over. Let's see what you got, and just come through, man. I really appreciate that.
I want to say this, man. We didn't get to talk about it because time was limited when you came. But you really inspired me, to see what you and your wife went through, your hardship. And, I mean, you were just consistent. I only saw it from a social media aspect. But just to see you were so consistent and you pushed through. I remember the first episode after your son passed and how you dedicated it to him. And, man, I mean, it was in that moment, I was like, oh, I gotta have John come.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had already had the idea and thought of it.
I appreciate it.
But I was like, man, he's got to come, man, because I mean, I don't know, where did that strength come from?
You know, dog, I gotta be honest, man. People, I purposed in my life when I ask somebody how you doing, I'm really asking you how you doing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times, this is what I've noticed about myself, dog. Like, the small talk that people have, I really don't do well at.
Yeah.
I tune out. Like, people could talk to me and they're just like, yeah, and then they try to, and I kind of just like, yeah. I hit them like, yeah. And when I ask somebody how they're doing, I really genuinely want to know, because there's a lot of people, and I got this from the kids. A lot of kids go through things in life, and they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to articulate that stuff, and nobody really asks them, "Yo, how are you doing?" So when I ask people how you doing, you know what I'm saying? And I take when I say how you doing, I really genuinely, even if it's like, yo, I feel bad right now. I really, would like to hear that, to maybe even say, God be with you. But the strength, man, I just, my son was born early, and he went through a lot of pain, a lot of, but he kept going. His heart kept beating. And I just think that, we were doing this. This is the most emotional I've been in a long, ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I can imagine.
In church today, just teared up. At church yesterday, just teared up. Seeing my wife in this state, but just the resiliency, just to keep pushing forward, because it's like I tell people, a lot of creators I talk to, man, you're failing right now by not even putting it out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
When you say, you know what, when you put it out there, you have nowhere to go but up, and you just got to be prepared for the ride. But the strength just comes from knowing how strong he was.
Yeah.
And how strong my wife is, and just the support from our families, man, it's just been dynamic.
I gotta tell you, man, like I know for a fact that it had inspired me, blessed me, man. So I mean, I know for a fact that it had to do that for somebody else, because that's not something that people shy away. Actually, they seclude themselves. Yeah, most people would have took off, just like, I'm done for months, weeks, for sure, whatever. For sure. So I mean, your perseverance was just a testament to me, because it made me say, man, this man is dealing literally with life and death. Yeah, and he kept going. So it had me looking at situations like, okay, so I'm gonna give up for that, or I'm gonna quit for that, or I'm gonna take a break for that. Man. So I mean, I definitely still praying for you guys, man. I appreciate it. Just know that. Your hardship really inspires a lot of people.
I appreciate it, man. Like I said, man, it's an emotional thing to deal with, man. And I used to think to myself, like, sometimes when you sit alone and you're creating, you're writing, you're just like, yo, what if this is not dope enough?
Yeah.
And then you listen.
Don't ever think that.
Well, yeah.
I'm just playing.
No. That's a good. And then I was thinking, man, I ain't been through nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I ain't been through nothing to make it.
And I have definitely said that.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't been through nothing, but then just watching, I've been to a lot of funerals. But when it's when you're sitting in that green chair, when you're sitting in that green chair, it's just different. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the strength comes from my boy. Rest in peace to John Rose Dyke II, man. I love you, man. Everything I do is for you. But it comes from him, man, to be honest.
So you mentioned, the pre-thought of I hadn't gone through anything. Has it changed you creatively?
I know it. Yes, emotion. I have that emotional tie now. You know what I'm saying? I know.
That's actually dope.
I used to, because I haven't. There's a lot in my acting career that I have not done. I've yet to be in acting classes yet. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I just haven't had the time. And like you said earlier in the episode, hearing that no just kind of drove me to, I've always been a poet, and I've always had the inclination to start something like from ground up and do it by myself. But just, sometimes I can sit when I'm still, I can sit and the emotion just pours out, man. So I'm just excited to see how it looks on film.
Yeah, that's
when I get
dope,
to that point, man. So man, every Thursdays, 8 p.m.-ish, 8-ish,
9-ish, Thursday-ish.
Y'all drop This Is Culture podcast.
Yeah.
So this is what I ask you, man. The podcast came from I myself being in the moment and thinking, what do I need to do next? What's next? So actually, what's next for you and what's next for the podcast?
Cool. So 2 different questions, but the same.
Okay.
So I'll start with me. What's next for me is just continue building the brand of 1989 Dreams Productions.
Okay.
Like I said, we have a show in September. That's 90s TV weekend. You definitely don't want to miss that. October is the movie premiere.
Okay.
Also, we're going to be in Memphis performing September, October. November, I have an amazing show called The Messiah of Oz coming out. It's a gospel version of The Wiz.
Okay.
So you don't want to miss that. And then I do a big Christmas show every December as well. So that's what's next for 1989 Dreams Productions. And next year, we're going to host Houston Black Theater Week.
Okay.
So that's going to be pretty dope as well. Now, as far as the podcast, man, we're actually going through some really exciting changes that's going to be coming September. Like I said, we're gonna finally start getting that audio going for people.
Sure. You need that.
For sure.
Not that you need it, but I mean because I think that
people want more access to be able to listen to it and not have to be there for Facebook.
I feel that.
We definitely want to be more accessible to people. We're gonna go ahead and launch the YouTube.
Okay.
And man, I'm always debating in the air, adding a 5th person, man. Just because I'm like, we need that one more. I'm like, it's one more perspective that's missing.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely just moving forward. I mean, great comedy because they fools, and just hopefully some great inspiration for people too.
No doubt, man. So I like to impart a gift on everybody that comes on the podcast, man. It's a black SVIT that I personally make myself. It's from my company to you. I appreciate you coming out, man.
That's a bet, man. I'm gonna wear it Thursday.
No doubt, man. Houston, Texas. I do what I do for myself to prove I can do it for others. Peace and blessings.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jigger, puffy. All that ballin' is a hobby. And I'm wildin' in my wallies. And them valleys, no Pilates. More way get you more wet. Nah, that's these Spumante. My crystal ball, I see crystal. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get cracked. We like, cheers to the money guys. The Willie niggas who buy them bottles. And then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dawg. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hussy. This a private party. Been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party. You gon' be nice and naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust. Fuck is up. Over and done.